Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and everyone, hey, I hope you're having a wonderful day and you are ready for some Computer America. Now, first things first, just to be completely upfront with everyone, if you are tuning in to hear our regular correspondent, Sandy Berger, she, I believe, is going to be on next show, so tomorrow. And so today we had a little bit of a mix-up, and I thought, hey, if we, if things get mixed up here a little bit, that's perfectly okay, because I wanted to try something a little different, and hopefully all of you will be on board. And this is something that we touched on a couple of years ago, and I wanted a chance to actually, try it again. So this is going to be a show dedicated to how to get into the basics of coding, what programming languages that you want to learn, what are programming languages. It's going to be a zero assumption introduction that if you feel like you want to start in this field, you don't have to go to college for this. You don't have to, have been doing this for 10, 15 years. You can get certifications. You can start to learn on your own if you're passionate enough about it. You can pick this up in your spare time for absolutely free. Tons of resources, tons of communities out there. And hey, in a lot of cases, we're going to find out that it can lead to a lot of very lucrative careers. So this is not going to be all about how to make money, but rather just how to get your foot in the door, toe in the water, and how to get started with programming. Because I think to a lot of people this could be a very daunting subject. If you ever wanted to look up different programming languages, which one should you learn, what fields are out there, then it can get complicated very fast. So hey, today's show, we are going to try to break that down for you. And then in the second part of the show, if there even is a second part of the show, we will be doing computer and technology news. So everyone out there, before we get started, a couple of things. ComputerAmerica.com, that's where you'll find our code. And our code runs our website that, of course, has everything to do with today's show. It will have links, and that's going to be very important for a program such as today, because any services, any resources that we pick up on, we will include over in the show notes. Definitely want to check that out. Also, while you're there, be sure to check out the live video feed, which also has a chat room attached to it if you feel like joining us, talking with us, and, hey, just having a good time. Experience Computer America in a different way other than the radio. And last but not least, on top of that, be sure to check out the different articles that we have out there. So everyone, once again, ComputerAmerica.com, and in the meantime, want to go ahead and get started. So not going to play the jingle because obviously this is not news. This is, kind of an introduction. So I think a good way to kind of introduce this, and this is a video from Microsoft and actually Microsoft Learning, and this is a way for, just assume nothing and we're going to listen to this, and this will be kind of our introduction. So once again, this is a video called What is Coding? So why don't we go ahead and start with this. So let's go ahead and throw this up on the video portion, and yeah, here we go.
Welcome to Hour of Code, an introduction to the basics of computer programming, or as it's commonly called, coding. Code is all around you, and the results of coding are everywhere. Whether you're posting a tweet, watching a YouTube video, or even swiping a debit card, whatever happens because of lines of code. In fact, just about anything with a plug or battery uses code, or computer programs, to do things. Lots of everyday items, phones, watches, microwaves, cars, have computers in them, and they all rely on code to make them work. So, what is code exactly? Code is a precise set of instructions a computer can understand. Think of it as a recipe. The instructions need to be precise, so whatever you're making turns out the way it should. And just like people in different parts of the world speak different languages, computers understand many different languages too, with names like Python, C++, Perl, and Visual Basic. They're all different in their own way, and similar to spoken languages, they share many of the same basic features. Today, we're going to write some code using a language called Touch Develop.
So we're going to stop right there, but I thought that was a nice little introduction video that obviously that will be one of the resources that we include in the show notes. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of different ways that you can learn and a lot of different programming languages that you can, of course, specialize in. And hey, if you if you go about this correctly, there will be a lot of bleed over. There will be a lot where you may learn the basics of one, and a lot of it will carry over into your next language, so on and so forth. So your first one is the most difficult. That's the one that you really want to make sure that you pick the right one first, and then everything else will fall into place. So with that being said, before we get started with which different language that you should learn, I wanted to do a segment, and I think I had it here somewhere. I wanted to read an article about the different jobs that are in demand. And here we have. So this is from a company called Zipjob. So obviously, Zip and ZipRecruiter, things like that. They help you with resumes and the whatnot. And yeah, hey, they have a good pulse on what kinds of jobs people are writing their resumes for, and what jobs are in demand and that kind of thing. So I thought this was a good place to kind of start. And a lot of it does not have to do with what we are here to talk about today. You have things such as home health aide. You have your physical therapist. Or your physician assistant. I mean, these are the top 15 most in-demand jobs. And this is for 2019, written at the very beginning of the year, so just a month or two out of date. But hey, pretty much the most up to date that we have. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, though, of course, you start to get into information security analyst, and that's not exactly what we're here to talk about, but it is IT, and believe me, some coding experience will help you very, very much if you get into that field. The next one, though, absolutely, number 6, software engineer. And yeah, you can definitely see it there, saying that with its median salary of $95,000, this profession continues to attract technologically minded workers. It's a field with a lot of future growth, as some experts expect the number of these jobs to rise by 19% in the next 6 years. So obviously, this is something that the field is very competitive, but at the same time, if you can start in it, there's going to be work for you for a long time to come. And that's what we like about technology, is that you may think that it's not, maybe it moves too fast, or the languages that you learn just aren't going to be useful. I mean, I had that same sentiment when I was going to school, that whatever I learn now is going to be useless in 2 years, or by the time I find a job. More and more, we're finding out that that's not the case. Languages are having a longer lifespan. The skill set of people, like, you can learn the latest and greatest thing, which we're definitely going to advocate for, but a lot of the technology that we use today in banking, in system administration, in networks, a lot of that language was set up in the 90s, and of course early 2000s, hasn't really been updated. Folks, if you wanted to really drill down and learn one of these old, archaic coding languages, you could actually earn quite a bit of money, because the people who are currently maintaining the servers and maintaining the code, the only ones who know how to do it were the ones who originally set it up back in the 90s. They're looking for the next generation of IT people to really take the reins here. And unfortunately, just not a lot of people are going back and learning the stuff that that they need to learn, just because, hey, no one continues to develop in that, but whatever is currently running on that needs to be maintained. So there's another side of it, but again, this is for beginners, and just wanted to really highlight that there's a lot of depth here. And we're also going to tie in, so number 6, software engineer, number 7, web developer. Same thing, coding and learning to use things like CSS and PHP, Java, HTML5, learning to use these different programming languages and systems to either develop websites or to maintain servers, maintain websites, or even design websites, just as important. And again, a lot of carryover. So again, from this article, they say that web developers are in high demand, not expected to change. And in fact, they expect to see a growth of about 24% and a median salary of about $70,000. Pretty good. And so obviously the article goes into a bit more that, hey, stuff that we really don't want to talk about, but just wanted to highlight that what we're going to talk about today is in demand. So if you're looking to switch jobs or maybe just expand your resume, this is a good way to do it. So here we go. There's that one. And why don't we go ahead and switch on over to the next article? And we actually have two, just to, kind of give us some variety and compare the two. And the first article we're going to do is actually is actually from Coding Infinite. It's a website. You can definitely check them out. They have a lot of different subjects that they kind of cover. But for our sake, we have this article from December 22nd, and I'm going to be giving you the dates because I think relevant, recent information is a lot better than information that maybe you dig up. And hey, let's say a top 10 list of programming languages isn't exactly useful from 5 years ago, because 5 years ago some of these some of these languages didn't even exist, or they weren't in wide use. So relevant. That's what we're looking for, and that's why we have this article here. Here are the 10 best programming languages to learn in 2019. Now, be very clear. When they say best, I'm sure that they mean a number of things, and that includes the availability of jobs, everything from the ease of use. So there is no technically best programming language. It's simply whatever the job requires. If you need to know whatever, you just need to know whatever that they ask of you. There is no best. You can't just say, hey, I prefer this over that. It doesn't matter. You have to learn whatever it is the job you're going to do. But there are good places to start. Now, and so this is Alison Saeed. Now, the first one, top 10 list, and we're going to do another article just to, kind of see what matches up or what doesn't. Number 1, though, and I have heard of this, I'm sure a lot of people have, Python. Python. Yes, like the snake. Python has been a growing programming language, and it shows no signs of disappearing. You'll find it in web applications, desktop apps, network servers, machine learning, media tools, and more. You'll find Python useful for back-end services and APIs if you're in security or site reliability engineering, and Python-based web development framework like Django, Pyramid, and TurboGear have found more and more popularity. So obviously you're not going to know exactly what a lot of these terms mean, but you will learn them. And the first one, of course, just the fact that Python is widely used. And that's why I think he has it as number 1, is just that it's so applicable to so many different areas of technology. So there you go. Python, number 1. Number 2, JavaScript. And Java, I'm sure that a lot of people out there maybe are cringing. They're saying, "Oh no, Java! I wish Java would go away. Java's just not fun. Java, has so many, let's say, security." Well, I should stop saying Java. JavaScript is different than Java, but JavaScript is the most popular language, and that's according to Stack Overflow. If you don't know what Stack Overflow is, you should get familiar if you wanted to get into this field. Stack Overflow is kind of like the go-to place if you want to discuss your code, if you want to have other people look at it. It's a great community for coders. Stack Overflow, definitely check it out. But JavaScript. More than half of all developers use JavaScript. It's vital to front-end development and increasingly relevant to back-end development. It's rapidly expanding into areas like game development and the Internet of Things. JavaScript stats, according to Stack Overflow survey from 2018. They have an image here that you can see, put that up on the screen, saying that JavaScript is actually more popular by the languages that developers use. JavaScript is number one, HTML, CSS, CQL, and even further down, Java. So JavaScript is a good one, very, very popular, and I think that's what this list kind of consists of. It has to do with the popularity. You definitely want something relevant. So just real quick, JavaScript allows you to build interactive websites, and it's truly an essential web tool technology alongside HTML and CSS, because most browsers in some way implement JavaScript. It's crucial for getting into web development, and learning this language is generally easier to pick up and to do something tangible with, in part because of all the accessible UI. And really don't worry too much about what's accessible, because we're going to highlight this a little bit later in today's show. But there are a lot of resources. If you learn better by someone explaining it to you, there's going to be videos. If you learn better by reading, there are going to be articles for you to read. If you learn better by diagrams, then diagrams you will be given. So don't worry about the difficulty of these languages. Just kind of focus on the idea that who uses them, what are they used for, and how popular are they? Because popularity really does matter. So number 3, Rust, and we heard a little bit about Rust, but it's a new system-level programming language that is changing the way we think about programming. Rust came in first place in the 2018 Stack Overflow Developer Survey for developer most loved and wanted languages. So Rust, and that was developed by the Mozilla Foundation. Yep, right here in the article. And so Mozilla Firefox, I'm sure you know the browser, they develop Rust. It's created with the purpose of avoiding the dangling pointers. Sounds very lewd. Buffer overflows or any other kind of memory errors. For a beginner, Rust might be a bit of a struggle to pick up, as it insists on various rules to achieve memory safety. However, experienced developers love it, and it's quite possible that in the next few years, it will be in very high demand. And that seems to be the way, because we have this shift from what's popular today and what's in most use, and you can have some level of job security, knowing that you will have to work with and maintain and integrate into whatever's popular today. For a number of years, it's okay. But you also need to continue education, continue learning, and learn what's going to be coming up, because then we'll start to get the transition. People will start to use it more and more, and we'll have to switch from, let's say, something like JavaScript into Rust, or something from the previous HTMLs to HTML5, something like that. So definitely want to continue education, and there you go, Rust. It should definitely be on your radar. Next one, Go. I believe this is from Google. Yeah, so Go, G-O, very simple, is a minimal language, just like Python. And of course, since it was developed by Google, who are also Python lovers, they came up with a language which is simple to write like Python, but more efficient like C++. There you go. Go provides better features to write concurrent programs in the era when multi-core apps are being written. Go addresses that need quite well, and also there's the built-in support for concurrency in it. So Go, if you are hoping to land a job in at Google, then obviously you want to focus on Go. A lot of different organizations will really demand expertise in certain languages. So just want to make that very clear. We'll see that Microsoft, when we talk about certifications, Microsoft has a lot of certifications that they put out themselves. And so going after those, very, very important. Let's go ahead and skip down, speed this up a little bit. Number 5, Swift is another programming language, and that Swift is in really high demand because even though it only came out in 2014, it made it really simple to put iOS apps out on the market. It's Apple's new language. Options for programming natives, iOS and macOS applications. Native apps have been found to outperform hybrid apps, and SpriteKit makes it even easier to build 2D games. It is considered an improvement in terms of usability and performance compared to Objective-C. So if you are an app developer or you want to be an app developer, that's a different kind of field, but at the same time very important, then Swift would be very important to you. Check out Swift. Okay, so number 6, Kotlin. Yeah, Kotlin, Kotlin, is the second most loved and wanted a programming language in 2018 Stack Overflow survey. Kotlin language is originally developed by JetBrains. It is fully interoperable, tough word, with Java and comes with no limitations. Here we go. Here's the big thing. It works with server-side development, Android apps, and much, much more. Android developer has been using Kotlin language for some time and love it the most. In 2017, Google announced that Kotlin is now the official language for Android development. So just like Swift is for iOS, Kotlin for Android. Whichever side of the fence you want to go. Although to be perfectly honest, if you want to be an app developer, if you want to offer your services to build apps, you would probably want to be able to do both, because hey, no one really just develops for iOS anymore. It's iOS and Android. There you go. 7, C++, obviously highly efficient and flexible language, first created back in 1985. C++, what a classic. It has remained in high demand due to high performance, reliability, and a variety of contexts you can use it in. Microsoft Windows and Google Chrome are two of the most well-known projects created with C++, and of course, most of Amazon websites are written in C++. This is one of those languages that when I went to school, they had you learn C and then C++, and it's just, if you want to learn the basics, like when they say highly efficient and flexible, they mean that this thing is so basic, being written back in 1985. It's all the other languages kind of build upon it. They have shortcuts, they have more usability, but if you just want just the bare bones, you'll get it done and it'll work really well if you do it right. C++ is the answer for you. So number 7. Number 8, TypeScript, a programming language designed for large-scale JavaScript application development. In 2018, TypeScript captured the imagination of wider developer community. This language is not just for front-end developer, it is now used to power backends, create hybrid mobile applications, architect cloud structure, design neural networks. Very important. If you don't know what a neural network is, think artificial intelligence. That's what a neural network eventually becomes, is an AI. And even control robots. Because obviously you would have JavaScript, and instead of running one script that would do multiple applications, TypeScript would then execute multiple JavaScripts. There you go. It's no surprise that TypeScript is now fundamental core to JavaScript framework. Even Google decided to use it in Angular. Number 9, Java, the most popular programming language you've ever heard. It is a language created by the mighty James Gosling from Sun Microsystems in 1991. Hey, good year. See, year I was born. There's a great saying, write once, run everywhere. capture one of the keys that make Java so valuable. Its powerful Java virtual machine, which makes it cross-platform compatible. And of course, Java has died and resurrected more times than we can count, and it is still right here. According to 2018 Stack Overflow, Java is still the number 5 in terms of programming and markup languages. So, as much as we want Java to die, as much as Java is such a headache to program around because there are so many security flaws in it, and it's just not it's not good compared to the others, but it is popular, and that's why it's important. So that's number 9. Number 10, F# is originally developed by F# Software Foundation. There was a time nothing much happened in web regarding of F#, but according to the latest survey, it ranks in the highest salary compared to other programming languages. So, hey, something to keep up there. There you go. Good rundown of the top 10 best programming languages. And of course, there are other languages that we can, talk about here. And that doesn't really get into things like CSS and HTML5 and, other web developing languages. But yeah, hey, that's pretty good. Good list. We'll run through real quick this other top 8 list, see what's the duplicates, see what they agree or disagree with. Number 1, Python, just like the other one. Python seems to be the top for both. Good place to start. Number 2, Java. Well, JavaScript. Java and JavaScript also on the list. You're also looking at PHP, which was not mentioned. PHP, if you don't know what that is programmed with the help of built-in web development capabilities. The programmers can embed the code written in server-side programming language flawlessly into HTML code through the script tag. So essentially helping you develop websites. Swift, again for iOS, C#, you can see that there, C++, C, and Ruby. Ruby is actually one that we didn't mention and definitely should mention because Ruby on Rails and really just Ruby is a very important resource for programming. Like I've heard a lot of people say that is really one of the best ways to start programming is to learn Ruby. So let's go into this one, and then we'll move on to our next topic. But here we go. Ruby is considered to be a language that is well known for being comparatively simple to learn and implement. I've heard that same thing. It was developed in the 1950s. Yeah, 70 years ago. Ruby was designed to possess a more human-friendly syntax and still be flexible from a standpoint of the object-oriented architecture that it supports in the procedural and functional programming notation. Who the heck knows? The web application framework, which is implemented in Ruby, is called Ruby on Rails, and the Ruby developers have touted it being a simple language to write in and even for comparatively short learning time required. Such attributes have contributed to building a large community of Ruby developers, along with a growing interest in the language among the beginning level of developers. So, yeah, it's and I think one reason that they kind of highlighted there that it's so nice to start with is because you can read it. A lot of these others, they're going to have syntax that you just really can't understand. There's going to be shortcuts. You're going to have to look up a lot of these terms, and you're going to have to learn really another language. Ruby, you're going to understand it. You're going to read it like a human, and you're going to write it like a computer. It's still going to be legible, and I think that's one of the main benefits of Ruby. But you do not want to end at Ruby. You want to continue to hone your skills and, hey, move beyond Ruby. But it's a good one to know. And yeah, with that being said, we also had another list here. Just looking through it real quick, we're going to throw this up in the show notes from hacker.io. And yeah, so far everything seems to be about the same. The only thing that they include here that is not included in the others is a programming language called R, like the letter R. It is one of the most commonly used programming languages for data analysis and machine learning. R provides an excellent framework and is built in libraries to develop powerful machine learning algorithms. R is also used for general statistical computing as well as graphics. So just to put that one on your radar, you're not probably going to start with R, but there you go. And by the way, one common feature of all of these lists have Python as number one. So if you're looking for a place to start, I would recommend Python. Number two, C and C++ seem to be on there. Java and JavaScript are on there. And of course, if you would like, you can go with Swift. Swift is for iOS programming, another good place to start. But number one seems to be Python. Okay, now you have your languages. You've heard some of the terms. You know some of the some of the different features. And looks like we're about to go to break here in just a moment. And when we come back from break, I think we'll talk about how to actually get started. And trust me, there's a lot of resources. We'll get into websites, courses, everything for free. Or if you would prefer, you can pay some money and get some actual tangible things to put on your resume. And of course, more resources and everything about how to get into coding if you have no idea where to begin. This is the show for you. Everyone, music means we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. More Computer America right after this. Stay tuned.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And everyone, hey, thanks for continuing on with us. If you miss any part of our show so far, really, really highly recommend that you continue on because, sometimes when we have guests on, the show is split up into two segments and it's perfectly okay to kind of jump in the middle here, but not today. Today's show is entirely dedicated to how to get started in programming, what languages to use, what is programming, and what resources are available out there if you wanted to get into the field. So this is one of the shows you really have to start from beginning to end. And of course, you can find that wherever podcasts are heard. Search Computer America, and today's show and many of our other shows should pop right up. And hey, definitely listen to this one from the beginning. But if you are just joining us, don't worry. We're going to use small words, and welcome into the Computer America Show. Now, just before the break, I mentioned what we're going to talk about next, and that is, of course, certifications and degrees and the different resources out there. So I have a couple of lists here. We're going to go through these. We're going to make it quick, but something that you need to know about certifications. Now, a lot of people can go to universities and they can take courses on, they can get a bachelor's degree in computer science and web development. They can get a bachelor's degree in information technology or whatever. There's a lot of different coursework that you can do, and of course, a university and over the course of a bachelor degree will give you a very well-rounded experience. In fact, probably even better than someone who is self-taught, self-directed. It's very much an ABC kind of thing, but that's not for everyone. College is expensive, and when you're talking in the neighborhood of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's not what programming is about. This is a system that was developed by technologists for technologists, and hey, what better technology is there than the internet? Everything and anything you need to know is going to be available online. And that's what we want to really, really, really drive into you. So let's go ahead and start with this article right here. This is from a website called PluralSight. And this is the 14 developer certifications that will give you an edge. So as opposed to a degree, and a degree will often come bundled with other certifications, like if you have a bachelor's degree, a lot of them will come with, like, let's say A+ or some other entry-level certifications. You can earn those on your own. Whatever certification you go for, they're often accredited by different institutions. Sometimes it may be Google, it may be Microsoft, it may be Apple. If you learn to code Swift and you learn to code for iOS apps, you can be certified by Apple to say that you know what you're doing. So this one is a little bit out of date, but I think it does have, a lot of these certifications have been around for a while, and you do want certifications that are very well known. You don't just want just random ones out there. You want some of the better known ones. So I found this list pretty good. Here we go. First one, Microsoft. Yes, that Microsoft, the huge Microsoft. Microsoft certifications are some of the most highly recognizable in the IT industry and carry a considerable cachet. Cachet. Here we go. So for developers, Microsoft offers its entry-level Microsoft Technology Associate, MTA developer, along with several intermediate-level Microsoft Certified Solution Developer, or MCSD. The MCSD program offers certification for Windows Store apps, web applications, SharePoint applications, and application lifecycle management. To earn these, you must pass 3 or 4 multiple choice exams, each of them being about $150 each. There are study guides out there. You can train for these. The learning material to pass these multiple choice exams are out there. I think in a lot of cases, like last time I looked into this, if you wanted to be certified as like an MTA or MCSD, you would pay your $150, and that would pay for your voucher to actually be able to sit down and take your exam. And they would have to be taken in certified testing locations. And Microsoft has those all over the country. They are often in places like universities, and they have to be monitored so to make sure that you don't, kind of cheat. But hey, it's for $150 each, you can get 3-4 different certifications that you could wave in someone's face or put on your resume and say, hey, I am certified. Give me a job. Much, much cheaper to get a $100, $150, $70, $300 certification than it is to get, hey, in a lot of cases in college or university, you'll pay that much just for the book. And to be able to get the certification for that, very, very, very cheap. Next one, as we said, the MTA certification aims at high school and college students or anyone who is new to programming and development. Essentially, it's your way of saying that, hey, this is it's kind of like an associate degree. I know more than the average bear, but I still have a ways to go. Pretty easy. I think a lot of people could pass that with just maybe even a couple hours or days or, a couple of weeks at most training, and you could be MTA certified for $115 for the voucher. And of course, like we said, multiple choice, pretty easy. And trust me, there's a lot of practice exams out there that are for free, and you can absolutely do that. Number 3, Amazon Web Services, and this is going to be huge if you want to be an associate level. Amazon Web Services run the internet. AWS is huge on the internet. It's a great field to get into because so many places use it. It's going to be in very high demand. That's why the credential comes with no prerequisites, but you must take a multiple choice exam on AWS fundamentals, plus design, developing, and deploying cloud-based solutions, security, and debugging. 40 to 60 questions, takes up to 80 minutes to complete, and costs about $150. If you're not catching on, all these, and we're going to talk about a couple others, but the entire list, like if you wanted to be certified in every single certification on this list of like 14 different ones, you could probably get out of there for, maybe $2,000 or $3,000. Well, actually, until you get to about the end, but for about $2,000 or $3,000, maybe excluding one, you're going to have a very long list of credentials. You're going to look very enticing for potential recruiters. And again, all you have to do is pass the test. You don't have to take a 3, 6, 9 month course. No, just study for it, take it, you're good to go. Now, continuing on, and we're going to speed this up here a little bit, but just to give you an idea, you can look at Oracle, who gives out the Apex certification. It's the Oracle Application Express Developer Certified Expert. It's a successful completion of a multiple choice exam, about 200 questions, and takes about 3.5 hours, where the exam fee is about $50. 50, not bad. Another from Oracle, Puppet Labs, Red Hat. Yes, Red Hat, just recently acquired by IBM. They have their own certification that is about a $400 performance-based exam, which is a 4-hour session on developing enterprise-ready web projects, which includes context, POJO/JEE, POJO, G components, identity information through APIs, web, JSF, and so much more. But of course, you would know all that before you go in there, and pretty simple. So that one, 4 hours, $400. Salesforce, Scrum Alliance, scrum.org, although, let's see, I think it was the Scrum Alliance. Here we go. To earn a CSD, which is the Scrum Alliance Certified Scrum Developer, no exams are required, but you must attend formal training led by Scrum Alliance Rep. This consists of 3 days of technical skills training, 1 day Scrum elective course, and 1 day introduction to Scrum course. You must also pass an evaluation performed by a rep or a trainer, and the price is about $3,200. A little bit more expensive, but that's a full-blown training course. That's not just a test. So there you go. It's and we're going to include the list. There's a lot more. There's 14 different certifications, and trust me, there are a lot more. They didn't even get into some of the other certification organizations out there, but that's what we would recommend. If you are looking to get into this, the training and knowing what's going to be on the test and knowing how to do all this, all that's going to be free. And we're about right now, we're going to get into how to learn this and where to go. But once you've learned it and you're ready to get a job, you need to get certified. You need to have a piece of paper that says, I can do what I say I can do. And hey, I think $50 or $150 or $300 for a simple 3-hour test, 1-hour test, 2-hour test is a lot simpler than going to university for 4 years. This is a good way to start. Now, let's go ahead and by the way, there's also this one here called globalknowledge.com. And as always, link in the show notes. Here, 88% of developers use more than one programming languages. Like we said, you start with one, you bleed over into the others. But here's some coursework. I think you have to pay for these. Let's see, so Virtual Classroom and Classroom Live. I think you have to pay for these, but yeah, if you feel like you want to sit in on a virtual classroom and actually have a teacher, have a dialogue, communicate with someone, then this would be a good way to go. They have everything from C, C++, C Sharp, Python developer training bundle, all that kind of thing. It's about $1,000. So like I said, you don't need to spend money, but if you have money to burn and you feel like you want that one-on-one, like with all of these, if you're paying for something, you're paying for the interaction. You're paying for the people to interact with you and to teach you. The strict technical knowledge is available for free online. You don't have to pay for that. But if you feel like you learn better with a tutor or a professor or something like that, hey, you can definitely do that. And as I said, globalknowledge.com is a great repository that shows training courses for all the different languages that we just talked about. And on top of that, you can even train with specific companies such as Cisco, IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, SAS. Hey, they all have solutions to work there. Now, let's go ahead and start talking about resources. There are a lot, and some of my favorite. The first one, the first one I really liked was, it wasn't free CodeCamp, it was Bento. That's something that I've used previously, highly recommended. And by the way, nothing on here has been sponsored or anything like that. I'm not being paid to mention any of these companies or any of these services. Just make that perfectly clear. First one, Bento. It's a great place to start. You can be a self-taught expert level developer. You can learn to code for free. And of course, they curate the best tutorials from around the web and create a free full stack web development curriculum by top engineers. They have over 100 web development topics. So of course, they curate the best resources and they have a lot of different web technologies. And of course, discover trending tutorials or the ones that work best for you. You can see here over at bento.io, bento.io, you can get an entire curriculum for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Git, Python, and CQL. Python, again, kind of the one that we recommend that you start with. But yeah, all you have to do, click it, go for it. And hey, there are, there's everything from things that you read, things that you listen to, and you don't just do one of these. So the first one, like we said, Bento, great place to start. Definitely check it out. And all you have to do is sign in with Facebook, make an account. It's free. You're good to go. Let's say you also want to use something like Allison, Alison, Allison.com. You would go to Allison.com, go to technology, and trust me, there's a lot of different coursework. Allison is used for more than just IT or programming, but it's a good way to go for that. And you would use them both in unison. So don't just rely on one. Don't just think that any one of these websites is going to cover you. No. Spread it around. They're all going to teach you the same subject matter from different angles, and you have to be kind of self-motivated to take, 3 different lessons on the same course to really make sure you have a good mastery of the topic at hand. And I really do like Allison because, like we said, they have a lot of different coursework and, everything from language to business to marketing. But for their IT and technical departments, they also have coursework that ends in a diploma. It ends in a certificate that ends in certifications. It kind of bundles in some of what we were talking about. Where you can learn how to, let's say, be a web page developer. And then on top of that, after the course, you pay your fee and there you go. You are now a certified web page developer. Allison, great one. The next one, I've not heard about this one, but it came highly recommended. The Odin Project. Odin, yes, much like the Norse? Yeah, Norse god. It's a career in web development starts here. Our full stack curriculum is free and supported by a passionate open source community. Love open source. There you go. You can learn, build, connect with others, and really should probably highlight that one. Connecting. Coders love to talk about code. They love to help new people. They love to work with others. They're a very social bunch and they love to help people out. So if you're looking for any kind of help, you would want to go to a place like GitHub or Stack Overflow, and these different services would of course be able to help you with, I have a problem in my code, I don't see what's wrong. They will help you out in a lot of cases for free. And if you really feel like you wanted to get involved in the community, you can of course help others. And the more that you help others with their code, you get to see what they're doing, how they're writing, what they're doing differently than you are, and you get to learn at the same time. Once again, the key is self-motivation. If you really want to code, if you really want to get into this and get certified and, get going, there's a lot of resources to do this for free, and you can get started today. It's just a matter of kicking yourself in the pants and getting going. So with that being said, you can definitely check out the Odin Project, all one word.com, HTML plus CSS, JavaScript, Git, databases, Ruby on Rails, and they even help you get placed with jobs. It's very important. So there's that one. Another one should be pretty self-explanatory. freecodecamp.org. So you can see it there. A lot of the same courses. You can see it all there. And of course, you just hit a button and you're off to the races. They, of course, are a 501c3. They're a charitable organization. So, they're not trying to make a profit off you. They're not trying to earn ad revenue from, you kind of being there. It's a great way to, again, kind of get started. So definitely check that out. There's also Code Academy. If you haven't heard of Code Academy, you're going to learn about it. We were talking about, connecting with others and talking to community members. And Code Academy, they have a forum. You definitely want to check out the forums, because they have a lot of different ways to, kind of get feedback and have that discussion. One of the more popular ones, one of the more common ones is called Khan Academy, Khan Academy.org. And of course, this is one of the more popular ones because it's not just for learners. It's not just for people who are just beginning their journey, but it's for teachers who want to make their own curriculum for their students. It's for parents who want to direct their kids to learn, and so much more. And of course, even beyond that, they teach you things like math, science, engineering, computing, arts and humanities, test prep, and more. But of course, what we're interested in, there we go, is computer programming and computer science. And of course, they're like at the very beginning of our show, they host the Hour of Code. So there you go. And they have a lot of videos. If you would like to watch or listen or be more of a passive learner, then Khan Academy would be for you. Definitely check that one out. So just real quick before we have to move on to some of these other resources that we kind of pulled up for you. Let's see. So we did not mention SoloLearn, like Han Solo. SoloLearn. Definitely check that one out. It's a great way to learn C++, Python, Java tutorial. And hey, the reason that this one's a bit different than the others is that a lot of these so far, you want to be at your computer or a laptop, you want to have the screen real estate, you want to be able to code, that kind of thing. SoloLearn is a bit different because it is designed around the idea that you will be using this on mobile devices. Of course, you can learn on a web browser, and that's perfectly fine, but you can get it on Android or iOS, and you can actually learn to code on your phone. We talk about being motivated. If you feel like you want to do this in your spare time, while you're waiting for the bus or you have a half an hour and you can pull your phone out, then there you go. This is going to be a good solution for you. So like we said, SoloLearn.com, or find that in the App Store. Definitely. The last two, edX, edx.org. Just another way, although this one is a bit different because it is sponsored by none other than MIT, Harvard, Berkeley, University of Texas Systems, the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and the University of British Columbia. Some of the biggest names in technology, in engineering, in mathematics, and they are the ones who develop the coursework for this site. It's free. You are absolutely allowed to use it. You can find whatever course. And in fact, a lot of these courses actually come directly from, let's say, MIT. You can have an MIT course taught to you. The only thing is that unless you pay money, you won't get any certification, but you will learn from the best minds available in the field. So very important. You won't get anything from it, but you will learn it from the best. So edX, definitely check that one. And I think the last one that we have here that we want to mention is, of course, called Coursera. It's a 100%. Let's I'm gonna put that there. Just make sure it's in the show notes. Next one is Coursera. It's a 100% learning from the world's best university and companies. This one, just like the other one, except instead of MIT and Harvard, this is the University of Illinois, Penn State, Johns Hopkins, University of Michigan, Stanford, UC San Diego, and Duke. All and more. And hey, it's coursework. Each course is like an interactive textbook featuring pre-recorded videos, quizzes, and projects. And they can all teach you, of course, what you want to know. And there's a lot more here. I know that we're talking about coding and computer science, but if you want to learn about health or data science or language learning or math and logic, then there are other courses for you. But for our sake, computer science, software development, they have all the different degrees and coursework that you could possibly want. There you go. Okay. That's about all that's about all the resources that we really, kind of feel the need to give you. If you absolutely need more than that, go to YouTube. YouTube is going to be your best friend for coding. There are, no other way to put it, there are nerds who spend a lot of their time doing actively using these languages on video and explaining step by step what they're doing. They're doing it for a number of reasons. Some people actually code better or more efficiently when they're explaining. Some people want to do it just for the sake of actually teaching others. But YouTube, definitely check it out. And one way to find good resources for that, this behemoth of an article, Learn to Code with .me. Check it out, great website, but this is their segment about free stuff, and it's a 71 item list that includes a lot of what we talk about here today, although we included stuff that was not on here, but it's a 71 piece list that includes how to find, where to find places to code, what languages are there, machine learning. They cover cybersecurity, which is something we didn't even touch on, mobile app development, UI, UX design, and WordPress. WordPress is actually hugely important for anyone out there who would like to learn about that. And of course, things like the command line, which is a little bit more just kind of basic to computers and not even like coding. But hey, this is a great list, and they really did a lot of work on it to make sure that people had the resources available. If they wanted to get started, we're definitely going to include this list to be kind of like, hey, your way of, kind of starting out here. And they also include YouTube channels. They have a podcast, and hey, you can find it there. So with that being said, we're definitely not going to have time to go over the 71 page list. The only other thing that I should turn you on to, if you are starting this, if you decided that you wanted to learn to code, and this is going to be your way to kind of get started, I wanted to key you in to one more website. This is called w3schools.com. So w3schools.com. It's a very important website if you are an HTML developer or if you do anything with JavaScript, Angular, JSON, Ajax, whatever. All of them. You will need references, you will need libraries, you will need things that you can only copy and paste or have to look up. And that's where W3 Schools come in, and they really do a good job of just putting it there and, getting you started. They even give you environments to start compiling your code immediately. And even beyond that, if you scroll down way to the bottom, they also have exercises that you can practice, and they even have, tutorials and training programs to learn a lot of this. Everyone, music means that we're just about done. I want to thank you so much for joining us. This was a different kind of show. I wanted to make it a bit different. Hopefully in the future here on Computer America, we'll split this up a bit more so that we'll be doing computer and technology news, interviews, of course, with some of the best guests out there. And on top of that, we'll have longer form content like today where we cover some of the basics. So everyone, thank you for tuning into Computer America. And until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much. And catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
No